Heads up, folks. The most recent episode of Piers Morgan Uncensored is a doozy, even by Piers Morgan standards. And there's so much to unpack in it that we'll probably do that over a span of 2 to 3 separate videos, about 2 to 3 different parts of this episode. But for this video, I want to focus on a frankly stunning conversation and debate that Piers had with Megyn Kelly about the Super Bowl and Bad Bunny's halftime appearance. And of all the recent Megyn Kelly appearances that have gone viral, this one is by far the most deranged and unhinged. She is shouting and screaming and almost frothing at the mouth in her rant about this, and Piers himself seemed to be stunned. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. Holy shit. Just as a recap, Bad Bunny, who is a Puerto Rican rapper and reggaeton artist, probably the biggest musician in the world right now, certainly top 5, performed at last night's Super Bowl. And that pissed off Trump and MAGA and Megyn Kelly. And you're going to see that on full display here. And to his credit, Piers pushes back because he thinks it's absurd.
Because there are going to be some things that I talk about with you where we're going to be in total agreement. But I'm going to start with something where I know we are totally in disagreement, and that is Bad Bunny. So I got up this morning and I watched it all without reading anything about it. I just thought, I want to watch this completely clean without anyone's view contaminating my brain cells. And I watched all 15 minutes of it. And I've watched every halftime show going back 30, 40 years. I thought as a piece of theater, it was the best I've seen. Just the most extraordinary kind of Broadway on steroids piece of theater. I also thought it wasn't remotely divisive politically in the end. His Grammys speech was, but his performance, I thought, was actually a lot of things which I would have thought people on the conservative right would applaud. It was about love. A couple actually got married. For real, in the middle of it. He was preaching about unity, not just the United States of America, but the wider Americas. What was the problem, Megyn?
Perfectly reasonable. Kudos to Piers. Credit where it's due. He nailed that. Now brace yourselves.
A certain male gesture is coming to mind, but I'm not sure I can do it on this show. No, it wasn't about what he was actually going to do during the middle of the Super Bowl performance. It's about him. It's about him being chosen as the Super Bowl performer, somebody who's been an outspoken critic, of course, of the Trump administration and of America and our anti-immigrant policies. This is long before the current controversy over ICE. He doesn't want illegals deported from this country. Well, too bad, because the majority of Americans do want that and are not shy about pushing for it. And that's why President Trump got elected. So he and his little buddies over at Green Day never miss a chance to bash the United States of America. He got selected because Jay-Z, for some reason, has got the choice over who performs at our Super Bowl, who's another problem. Don't even get me started on his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Why?
Let's stop right there for just a second. Okay, so number one, the American people are not happy with Donald Trump's immigration policy. Number two, if you're talking about problematic friendships with Jeffrey Epstein, your cult leader Donald Trump would be number 1 on the list. So clearly, your objection here is not particularly principled. And number 3, she gives the game away. Well, we didn't care about what he was going to do at the halftime show. It's just that he criticizes the Republicans. That's unacceptable.
Is he choosing who's appropriate for American children to watch during our seminal sporting event? And I'm sorry, Piers, but to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish. This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos, not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem. We don't need a Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
So again, to Megyn Kelly, if you are liberal or if you are a critic of a Republican administration, you just can't perform the Super Bowl. But Megyn, by your own logic, and she's obviously wildly successful, they didn't give a fuck what you think. Bad Bunny is infinitely more successful and more popular than you. So who cares about your opinion, right? Is that how this works? They made their choice. It was, we're still waiting on the numbers here, but it's on track to be if not the most viewed halftime show in American history, certainly one of. So the American people seem largely fine with it. And again, he's American. He is from Puerto Rico. What is the problem here? It is simply because he is critical of a Republican administration, and that to Megyn Kelly is unacceptable. Let's hear this part.
So what about Pavarotti?
America haters.
What about Pavarotti, who Donald Trump in 2016 in particular would use at every campaign rally? He's used it at the RNC, right, as a triumphant, tub-thumping anthem. Well, no, hang on. Not only Pavarotti.
I've been at lots of Trump rallies. Pavarotti gets a song, maybe
but
two.
He sings, but when he sings Nessun Dorma in Italian, I don't see you leaping up and down going, I can't understand a word of it. You're probably singing along.
I don't remember him being the Super Bowl halftime show, was he?
Well, would you have minded if he was?
Yes, I would have, because we feature English-speaking performers at the quintessentially American event of the Super Bowl. We do Michael Jackson. We do Whitney Houston. We do great bands that love America, like American rap. That's a different situation. This guy who can't stand the country comes out and starts speaking in Spanish, and I'm sure the people in South Florida really enjoyed it. The people in an American territory, Puerto Rico, really enjoyed it. But the people in the heartland had no idea what the hell was happening. This is a guy who loves to parade around in a dress, who again hangs out with Jay-Z and his Epstein-loving pals.
Donald Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. His name is in the files a hell of a lot more than Jay-Z's. It sure sounds like you're not taking a principled objection here. It's purely flowchart outcome oriented. Is this critical of the right, or is this beneficial to the right? And even Piers is stunned and amused that she is so fucking mad about this, because of course there is no principled commitment here. You know who's performed at the Super Bowl halftime show? Bruce Springsteen, U2, two of the biggest artists in global history. And they are both highly critical of conservatives and Republicans. And I promise you, if Bruce Springsteen had been brought back to perform at the Super Bowl, or if U2 had, Megyn Kelly would be pissed. She was ranting about Green Day at the beginning, because some people might say, well, there you go. There's the difference. There's something unique about Bad Bunny. We can probably imagine what that is. But she was also pissed off that Green Day performed at the pregame Super Bowl performance. And they're an American band, critical famously of the Bush administration. So there's just no winning with her. Unless you're Kid Rock or Lee Greenwood or some sort of conservative artist, Megyn Kelly does not want to see you at the Super Bowl halftime.
Who gets up there when he's not bashing America with his pals at Green Day, who are from the far left People's Republic of California.
Right there. Second time bitching about Green Day. So again, not a principled commitment at all. It is purely, are they liberal or conservative?
Who've never missed a chance to rip on Trump, MAGA, half the country, or ICE, and that's something they share with Bad Bunny. That's not representative of what the heartland wants to see. And the heartland always gets the middle finger from people like Jay-Z, like Roger Goodell, who should know better, but he's a panderer who runs the NFL. And that's why you had probably closer to 10 million people turning the channel and turning to the Turning Point event, which was pro-American, which was absolutely beautiful, which had several references to God and faith and this country, which had a tribute to Charlie Kirk at the end of it, and talked about Jesus and how he can change your life. That's what America's all about. We are founded as a Christian nation. We're still a Christian nation. And what we want is somebody up there to celebrate how freaking special this country is, not a bunch of people who can't stand us. And over what? Over our desire to get illegal immigrants who are raping and molesting our children out of our country. That's all ICE is doing.
Okay.
Again, Piers is stunned. And so would I too. I'd be like, God damn, why are you frothing at the mouth? Relax, number one. And again, just see the total abandonment of principle. The Turning Point USA, right? So headlined by conservative artists who are critical of Democrats. That's okay. You can't be critical of Republicans. You can be critical of Democrats. If Kid Rock had been tapped to be the halftime performer, would Megyn Kelly be complaining? No, of course not. Now, what if I or Piers Morgan or somebody said, well, Megyn, we can't have Kid Rock perform at the halftime the Super Bowl halftime show, or a conservative, musician, because they've been critical of the Biden administration or the Obama administration. Megyn Kelly would say, so what? Again, it's not about principle. And I'll also point out her bragging about the Turning Point USA thing. Yes, 10 million, which is the maximal interpretation. I've heard people say it's actually like 5 to 6 million concurrent views, but let's give her the 10. Bad Bunny's halftime show is reportedly about 130 or 135 million, so orders of magnitude. Bad Bunny is simply an infinitely more important and more successful artist than any of the people at the Turning Point USA appearance. And I think Piers is going to get into that in just a second. So I'm sorry. Facts don't care about your feelings. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We go with merit here, and merit says Bad Bunny is the big swinging dick of the performers, and Kid Rock isn't. That's why Bad Bunny was chosen. If you want a conservative artist to get there, actually have a conservative artist who's sufficiently talented and famous to make it happen. Otherwise, it sounds like almost like Super Bowl halftime affirmative action that you guys have to have your own little special, offshoot, which is infinitely less important, infinitely less viewed. And even then, she talks about, it's what America's all about, a tribute to Charlie Kirk. So a partisan conservative political activist? What if, let's say, the Super Bowl halftime show had included a tribute to partisan activist Rob Reiner, right? Legendary Hollywood director who died late last year. Would Megyn Kelly be okay with that? No. Again, she made it abundantly clear. It's got to be a Christian nationalist, pro-Trump, pro-Republican, conservative artist who hates Democrats, who hates liberals, who hates the other half of this country. That's what Megyn Kelly's looking, and she's screaming about it on Piers Morgan. One last clip.
Let me present a different view of Bad Bunny, which is he's the son of a truck driver and a teacher, born in Puerto Rico. He's an American, born there, naturalized American. He is the most successful artist in the world. He's the most streamed artist globally on Spotify for 4 consecutive years, nearly 20 billion downloads in 2025 alone. He has sold 123 million equivalent album sales. He's won Grammys. He's won everything. He is a fantastically successful American story, isn't he? And isn't the fact that he ends up performing at the halftime show exactly the kind of journey that America was founded on, which is a guy who comes from very little, born in America, who actually makes it to the biggest pinnacle because he is, right? I mean, look, I love Kid Rock, okay? And I actually really enjoy the Turning Point show as well. I like them both. But Kid Rock's not had a hit single in the last 11 years. This guy is right now the hottest star in the world, and he should be on the halftime show. I can't think of a compelling reason why not.
So again, I love the fact checks here. Listen, and I said this before when I did my video about this. Art is subjective. Music is art. If you prefer Kid Rock to Bad Bunny, I'm not going to give you shit about that. I'm not a big fan of either of their music. Again, I like Gin Blossoms, Matchbox 20, Goo Goo Dolls, Journey, Def Leppard, 70s, 80s, 90s pop rock, okay? Not a big fan of reggaeton or hillbilly trailer park rock like Kid Rock. But there's just no question Kid Rock is less successful and less important. I'm sorry. And I love that fact check, and you just see her stone face in real time. Nobody cares about your guy in comparison to Bad Bunny. More people care about Bad Bunny. More people are happy to see Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is more important and more successful by far, it's not even close, than Kid Rock. If you want somebody to be able to have that coveted halftime show appearance, find a fucking right-wing artist who's as big as Bad Bunny, but you won't find one. And that's your fault. We're not obligated to like your right-wing shit. Sorry, we're not. And that's what it comes down to. Megyn Kelly wants a pop culture affirmative action. No, we deserve, no, fuck you. Get a successful artist who can compete with the liberals you hate so much, and then you might have a point to make. But the best thing she can do, she can't defend Kid Rock on the merits. She can't attack Bad Bunny's credentials. So the best she can do is say, well, he's too divisive. Even though she also conceded at the beginning it had nothing to do with his conduct on stage. She didn't claim that he was divisive on stage. Well, it just doesn't matter. His views are too divisive. Well, so are Kid Rock's. So I veto Kid Rock. You can't have Kid Rock. You can't have Kid Rock at the halftime show because I think his views are too divisive. The Democrats think his views are too divisive. The other half of this country that you hate, Megyn Kelly, thinks his views are too divisive. So who would you be happy with, you on the right, that half of this country, and those of us on the left, the other half of this country, who would we be okay with? What's the Venn diagram here? Let us know what the criteria is, because what it sure sounds like is it has nothing to do with success or fame or celebrity or talent or catalog. It's purely about an acceptable Overton window of political views. And sure sounds like we're not going to be able to agree on an artist, because I don't think you want it that way. I think it's just you want some sort of right-wing affirmative action hire for the Super Bowl halftime show. You want a Kid Rock, Morgan Wallen, somebody like that, and you're pissed off that you didn't get your way, but nobody gives a fuck. And we can see that in terms of the views. The halftime show for Bad Bunny dwarfed, orders of magnitude greater than what happened at Turning Point USA. So the American people have spoken, and the free market's made its decision. And if you want to change the hearts and minds of people, get better celebrities. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.